I've been out here doodling people on social media, and you have been asking great questions. So that's what's coming up in today's tutorial. Hey, welcome. Around here we make art and it's fun, not scary. My name is Shayda, and so my people illustrations, they've been going a little crazy on social media. You've been loving it, asking for more, and so that's exactly what we're going to do today. Watercolor illustrations of people. So really simplified, really fun. Here's what I'm using. Little watercolor sketchbook from Strathmore. It has 140-pound cold pressed paper. My own Shayda Campbell watercolor palette. That's what it looks like if you want to grab it on Amazon. A couple glasses of clean water, number 8 round brush, and then I have some Tombow brush pens, some Copic sketch markers, some colored pencils, but you can use any number of supplies. Basically, you want to start with some watercolor, and then you want to have a secondary media to put on top, and I'll also use a black fine liner. So let's start by talking about darker skin tones. For those darker skin tones, I like to start with burnt umber and then mix in Naples yellow until I get the color just right. So if you want it really dark, just a hint of Naples yellow. If you're going for more of just like a tan, which is what I'm doing here, you can see I've added in more Naples yellow. So lots of questions on the gram, on TikTok about darker skin tones. So that's how I do it. And then I like to kind of lift a little color where I'm going to put the hair. And you just do that with a paper towel or a cotton swab or a cotton ball, whatever. And then here's one where I mixed in more of the burnt umber. So a little less Naples yellow, and it's going to be a little bit darker. Another thing I want to talk about is put those ears right in the center of the head. They go in the middle. And then face shape is so important. And I like to exaggerate people's features. If you're painting someone specific, say for a child, you'll make their face usually pretty round or a more masculine look, maybe a bit squared. I do have a worksheet to help you through all of these people doodles. That's available on Patreon, and I've even bundled it with all my people worksheets of years past. Get it on Patreon, or if you're not a patron, you can just go over there and buy it. We are walking this really interesting fine line of exaggerating features, but also really simplifying everything. This will be like a little kid, this one. And you can see I lifted the lower area of the face for that gentleman because he's going to have a beard. Now for lighter skin tones, if you have the Shayda Campbell watercolor set, you can use peach pink with a bit of that Naples yellow. And then if you want it more tan, more towards olive, like I'm doing here, just mix in more of that Naples yellow. I live to serve with this free content, my friends. I'm covering all your questions about people illustrations today. So let's try one where the person is actually turned. They're not just facing the viewer straight on. For that one, we're just going to put one ear, but still right in the middle of the head. Here is an excellent question. How do we show someone wearing a hijab? So I'm taking my skin tone, slightly curved line on the left and the right, and then a rounded line across the top. Start filling in and work out the bottom of the face with your paint. This is also on the worksheet. And friends, if you head over to Patreon right now, you can actually save. The membership is on sale, which is not something I do very often. Save 50% until June 14th. After that, it goes down to 35%. And then I'm just going to draw one more person down here, ears in the middle. Obviously on the previous one, no ears and no neck. And this is looking good. Let's leave those to dry for a moment and start mixing up hair colors. The first one, I'm just using burnt umber mixed with a little bit of Payne's gray to give me a nice dark brown. There's also a Van Dyke brown in this set, which I think is great for darker hair. And on this person, I'm putting some bangs. So they come down to about the ear. And then we're just going to give this person a cute little bob. I'm kind of making the hair go up slightly higher than the head. If you cover the ears, if that just feels more natural, don't worry about it. The ears can disappear or they can stay. It's just nice if they're there. And then this gentleman, his beard is going to be quite dark. So I just mixed in a little extra Payne's gray into my brown. And I'm just going up to his ear and down along the chin line. I think I went a little high on the right-hand side there. It looks a bit weird. The nice thing is we can lift. You can use paper towel or a clean brush to lift that wet color. Same thing where his mouth is going to be. Use paper towel or a clean wet brush, like damp brush, and lift. And we'll use that same color and give this person a nice curly hair. Lots of questions about curly hair. I just add some volume by doing these loop-de-loop motions with the brush, and then we're going to let it dry. Don't forget, we're adding all the detail with pencil, crayon, and marker afterwards. So when you're working with the paint, you're just doing super simple. And I think for anyone starting out, that can be really nice and less intimidating. Like, we don't have to capture a lot with a paintbrush, just some round heads and ears and a bit of funny hair. Speaking of hair, for ginger or red hair, I like to use sort of a light red or a dark brownish orange mixed with white and maybe a bit of that Naples yellow, and that gives us a nice color. But you can kind of play around until you get, the color that's right for the person you're showing. And I'm just doing this lady on a 3/4 angle as well. So you can see I've done the hair with the little flip to one side, and then it's tucked in a bun on top of her head. And I hadn't given her an ear, so I kind of just made one by lifting some of the paint up. Next, we're going to paint that hijab. I'm using white mixed with a little bit of rose madder hue and ultramarine blue. So I've got this nice lilac, but of course you can use any color. And we're just going to round the top of the head slightly. You don't want to give her too much more head shape there. Do 2 rounded lines along the left and right, and then at the bottom, just do some swooshes of the paintbrush coming in like a V shape to show folds in the fabric in a really simple way. Okay, we need one more haircut over here for this gentleman, and I'm just gonna do like a short haircut, kind of a bit of a curl to the hair, like a bit of more wavy hair or something like that. And it comes down in front of his ear. Again, these 2 people in the middle, we're gonna show how you can represent folks kind of on an angle. And then I find the best way to finish off these cute little people doodles is to just put a swash of color at the bottom of the neck there to sort of show the tops of their shoulders. You can just do a few horizontal paint strokes or kind of work out the shape of shoulders, maybe a V, whatever. It doesn't have to be a lot. And since I've drawn so many people on this little paper, I'm just doing, a little bit of color wherever I can fit it. And it kind of works. Let's wash our brush, let that dry completely, which shouldn't take too long, maybe 10 minutes, and then grab those other supplies, pencil and pen, markers, and colored pencil if you like. So what I'm going to do is use a fine liner for the faces. That's going to be my first step, but I like to use pencil first. For the eyes, make sure they are right in the middle of the head in line with the ears. A nose, you can usually just do like a little L shape, and then the mouth can pretty much just be a line. For children, I like to do a little U shape for the nose, like a shallow U. And then you can also do an oval for the mouth with a line through it to show lips. Okay, so you see how easy and cute these little doodle faces can be. Now let's talk about someone who is on an angle. So I like to draw a line sort of a little bit past halfway, and then we put the nose there, the mouth, and then the eyes. You can see how one side is just a little bit closer to the edge. And that's all we're going to do for an angled person. And then you go over everything in pen. I'm using a 0.5 millimeter nib fine liner, and all of my favorite supplies are linked in the video description. Once you've done it in pencil, you just go over everything. And this is when the people really start to come together, and you can see like, oh yeah, they look so good. So let's add a little bit more detail, shall we? And using a marker and colored pencil, it just makes it so easy. So grab a couple markers, like a light pink and a light brown, and I like to give people, all of them, a bit of a rosy cheek. I think that just looks so cute, and those 2 spots of color will sit right below the eyes, beside the nose. And depending on the skin tone, you can use a darker pink or a medium brown. And then I like to do a little bit of shading on everyone's neck using that light brown. And we just give them a rounded line to show where the bottom of the face is, because in some cases, you can't really tell. Well, you can tell, but this helps differentiate between what is neck and what is face. And a little line in the ear shows where the ears are. Maybe for the hijab, we could do a little line, just a little bit of shadow on her face. But that's pretty much it. Next up, we have the very fun task of adding textured and interest to the hair and then design to the shirts or to the fabric areas. So for this guy, I'm just doing a whole bunch of scribblies, and then I actually didn't give him a mouth because I wanted to draw a mustache on there. So it's really simple to do this with a colored pencil. You have lots of control. If you're not as good with a paintbrush, remember all the detail work here is done with a pencil or marker. Did a few straight lines on the beard to show texture. For curly hair, we're just doing lots of loop-de-loos and curly, messy lines. For straight hair, just a few straight lines, and you can change the direction of the lines to show what direction the hair is going, like the hair in the bun kind of has those short lines going straight up. And you can do the same for the hijab just to show the folds in the fabric or a little bit of shadow on the fabric. And then we move right along to those shirts, and you can use marker or colored pencil. It doesn't matter which you gravitate to. If you want to use all marker, you can do that. And I just put lines or dots on the shirts, or sometimes I just show where the arms are, or you can use a darker color to draw on like a collar or buttons, or, you know, if it's a little kid, put a dinosaur on their shirt. It really can be anything. And that's pretty much it. These people doodles are a lot of fun. As I said, you can exaggerate your friend's features. You know, if they have a really round face, make it extra round. If they have rosy cheeks, give them really dark rosy cheeks. Or if they have a favorite shirt, you know, at least capture the color of it. Anyway, I've had so much fun with this, and I have been thinking about making a little people e-course. I thought summer is the perfect time to kind of get into a subject like this. If that is something that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments below, because I've already begun work on it. And if you like my teaching style, head over to ShaydaCampbellCourses.com to check out all my e-course offerings. And finally, don't sleep on the worksheet and the worksheet bundle. Head over to Patreon to sign up. It's just $3 a month, but remember, it's on sale right now. Don't want to subscribe? You can shop any of my Patreon posts as a one-time purchase.